friends. I hope you're doing well. I want to talk about when you lose a parent unexpectedly and you didn't know that they were dealing with things because you lost communication with them, and not because of anything you did, but because the other person felt a certain way and they never discussed it with you. I dealt with that with my dad. My dad was such a great person. He was a great provider and he was a good dad. As time passed, my dad was going through a lot personally, and as a teenager, you don't really know what's going on. The relationship between my mom and him, we're not doing so great. He lost his job, and what he did most of the time that he lost his job, he got really depressed and he started drinking a lot. So, fast forward as an adult, he was there with me at a short, limited time. At this time, my parents were divorced, and I was an adult, and I started my own family. He would come here and there, and then all of a sudden, he stopped communicating with me. I would reach out, I would have no response back. So I got really tired of chasing my dad, and he never responded back to me. So I started my grieving. I started my grieving process when my dad was alive because he wasn't the same person that I grew up with, and he didn't allow me to have a relationship with him and to try to understand where he was at and to try to understand what was going on with him mentally and emotionally. He never took the time to explain himself. And at this point, I had all my three boys, and he was there when the boys were born, but he never had a connection relationship with them. He was very surprised that I had three boys, and I knew deep down that he did love the boys, but he never took the time to create a special connection with them. As time and years passed by, he started a relationship with this woman, and he lived in New York. That's all I knew. But the relationship that he had with this woman was not a great relationship. Um, he lost contact with his family from Puerto Rico, so things started trickling down. My dad passed on June 2nd, 2023, and how I found out how my dad passed was very hurting, and his girlfriend never reached out to me. I found out by a lawyer from the state that was reaching out to me because he thought that I passed. At this moment, he was confused with my other sister. My other sister passed, but I was, still here and alive. And to get that phone call that you're not from a family member, not from his partner at the time that, because she had my phone number, but she never reached out respectfully. And I was so hurt by that. And to get a phone call unexpectedly that your dad passed and they were trying to reach out for a family member and to make decisions on how I wanted to bury him. I didn't have a living well, so I decided to make the decision that was right for the family. And my grieving process, it hit me so hard and so difficult. To lose a parent that you never had the closure when they were alive, it is the most saddest thing you can ever go through. You have to, if you're dealing with that, and you had a relationship with your parent, and all of a sudden it falls apart that you didn't know why, try to understand where they're at. You can never change them, and that's not what I wanted to do for my dad. I didn't want to change him. I just wanted to know where he was at so I can help him better. So I can decide if I wanted to continue the relationship with him or I didn't, because I also had to protect my boys, and that is really a hard decision to make because they are your parents at the end of the day. But I do tell you this, if you never had a great relationship growing up with your parent, don't expect as an adult to have the best relationship. Understand your parents, their story, and you will understand why they were like that. And my dad had a really rough upbringing, so I understood why he did decisions the way he did. But I also had to protect myself, and I also had to create boundaries for myself and for my family. And that's what I did. Even though it's so hurtful, that is the decision I made for me and my family. And I never got the closure that I wanted from my dad, so I created my own closure. I forgave him. And forgiving someone, it helps you, it heals you, it cleanses you. Because you don't want to have that anger inside of you for not getting the closure that you needed. So you get the closure. You are the one who decides. You have the power to close and to feel okay by it. And yes, it's going to hurt, but you have to move forward. Because if you're not getting that closure from your parent, the one that you love, you are going to get that closure within yourself. And if you're facing this type of relationship the way I faced with my dad, try to reach out to them if you want to. Try to see where they're at and just accept them for who they are. Because if they're not going to change, you don't have the power to change them, but you can change yourself. You have the power to change yourself for accepting them where they are at and forgiving them. And it's forgiving them is not for them. It's for you. It's for you, for your healing, so you can have a joyous life moving forward. And give yourself that time, because there is nothing you could have done to change what has happened with your relationship, because it takes two people in order to have that connection and a great relationship to move forward. And if you're facing this today, give yourself that time and space if you want to connect with your parent or any loved one. Try when they're alive, try your best in order to connect and see if you want to continue that relationship, because sometimes family, depending on your status, on your family, your upbringing, sometimes that can hurt you in the long run. Or sometimes you need the closure when they're alive to feel that relief, to feel that healing. All I can say is try to do it, because you will feel better in the long run. And knowing that my dad's passed, um, it took me a long time to get my closure. And he only passed 2023. So I went through all my grieving phases, but I know in my heart that I did the best I could do. Because once again, you have the control of changing yourself, but you have no control on changing others. And that's the hard part, and that's the challenging part. But it takes two people in order to do that relationship. You cannot do it on your own, and you have to remind yourself that. Until next time. Ciao.